Hello everyone, I'm Joven. In today's episode of What's Next interview series, we will discover a very unique brand founded by three university friends at the National University of Singapore. The brand has rapidly evolved in the last decade and is now one of the leading online marketplaces in Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. Joining us today is JJ Eastwood, Managing Director of Carousell Media Group. JJ is here to share about Carousell's beginning, its evolution, and the role of Carousell in consumers' lives. I'm also excited to learn about the brand's contribution to the marketing industry and how it is adapting to changing consumer trends. Hello, JJ. Welcome to What's Next interview series. How are you?
Hello, I am wonderful. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Really excited to talk to you now. The first question here is this, right, JJ? I have seen, the growth of Carousell in Singapore. I was one of your early users back then. But JJ, can you share with us the beginning of Carousell? So why did the founders start Carousell?
I think maybe we'll take a step back and talk about sort of the evolution of classifieds, from the very early days. We started off in newspapers and then things eventually moved to online. What Lucas, Marcus, and CRA noticed is that the digital classifieds back in early 2010, 2011, 2012, they solved some of the issues for users, but they were still quite cumbersome. The main issue was trying to list an item. It took anywhere from between 10 and 15 minutes. What these guys realized is that if they built an app for business, you can take a quick photo of an item with your phone and have a listing up and live within a matter of seconds. That's really what they were solving for in the first instance. And maybe sort of touching on how carousels evolve is like once you create listings, then you have to start thinking about the consumers. How do we make it easier for people to sell things faster? And how do we make it easier for consumers to buy? And this concept around re-commerce, which you may have heard about, is really doing that. It's really bringing the best in class e-commerce experiences into the second-hand marketplace. So give you some examples about how we do that. We now authenticate luxury handbags and give the ability for people to buy things instantly, just like they would on an e-commerce store. They know how much the shipping is, they get a warranty, they get guarantees. We're doing that for high-end sneakers, we're doing luxury watches, we're doing it for electronics. And that's really what this re-commerce is all about, bringing those best-in-class e-commerce features into the second-hand world.
Right, good. So since you mentioned about re-commerce, I understand that Carousell has released the Carousell Re-commerce Index 10th year anniversary, right? So for everyone who hasn't gotten a copy yet, so please scan the QR code shown on your screen to download the report. Let's continue the conversation, JJ. Carousell was founded in 2012, and we have seen tremendous growth since its inception. Now, interestingly, after almost a decade, the brand launched Carousell Media Group. Can you share more about this?
Carousell merged with the leading marketplaces in Malaysia, which is Muda, the leading marketplace Vietnam, which is Chotot. And those businesses actually been around for longer than Carousell. While it would never make any sense to rebrand Muda Carousell, or it wouldn't make any sense to rebrand Chotot Carousell, what we identified from a media perspective is it actually makes a lot of sense for us to come together and create an advertising group, an advertising proposition, because the brands that we speak to, they want to be able to run campaigns seamlessly across the different markets. So in 2021, around February, we created the Carousell Media Group, which essentially does that. It brings all of those marketplaces together under one ad platform.
Okay, and I actually honestly think that, launching Carousell Media Group is a great move, right? Now you're playing a big role in the advertising industry, and advertisers can tap your users. And how many users are we talking about here again?
Tens of millions of users across the region.
When we're saying about the region, what markets are we talking about?
Our key markets for Carousell are Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines, and Malaysia. And then we've got Muda in Malaysia, and we also have Chotot in Vietnam. We also have a presence in Taiwan as well.
Right, that's great. Now, beauty about that is you are helping advertisers on your advertising platform without the use of cookies, right? So since Carousell has become an advertising platform as well, I would like to get your thoughts on this. What do you think is the difference between advertising on social media versus content sites versus search engines and versus e-commerce platforms or retail media such as Carousell?
They all have their merits.
Mhm.
Content sites. I've been in the advertising business for a long time, over 20 years, and I've worked at all of these businesses, from content sites, leading publishers, e-commerce, eBay for 3 years in Australia. Essentially what the likes of a content publisher does, it allows you to create content using the tone of voice of that publisher. So generally a specific publisher will have a certain tone of voice. Maybe that's a business type of tone of voice. It might be a quirky tone of voice, more sort of aimed at a younger demographic. And then it allows the brand to create some content that will explicitly talk to that audience, if you like. What a retail media network essentially does, it allows brands to tap into people while they're searching for certain products. Essentially, they're shopping. And that works especially well for what we would call endemic brands. So brands that are bought and sold on those platforms, making the ads super, super relevant. So if you're searching for an iPhone 13, we can work with a brand, whether it's Apple or a competitor, and we'll pull in a product SKU that is directly related to that keyword search, making it super relevant in that moment. So that makes sense for endemic brands. But also, in addition to that, there's non-endemic brands that want to get involved with retail media networks as well. For example, banks know that consumers or shoppers need credit cards, fast food. They know that shoppers get hungry. So I think that's probably the key difference, speaking to, connecting with active shoppers versus, tapping into more passive consumers.
Well, you have explained very well the difference, right, of these different platforms and definitely their advantages, right, as well. So let's further discuss retail media here. JJ, so what do you think is the role of retail media in the marketing industry?
Big question. So our job really on retail media is to help brands acquire new customers and increase sales. That's the number one job of a retail media network. And it's quite simple. It needs to also add to the user experience. So we want to show our consumers who come on Carousell this really nice blend between pre-loved items and brand new stock items, and sort of give them the choice. And we do that by showing them the ads from our advertisers. I guess the key difference with the Carousell Media Group versus some of the other retail media networks out there is that rather than the user clicking on a particular product that we've listed as an ad and taking you back to a store within the marketplace, we allow advertisers and brands, they allow the consumer to click back to the advertiser or brand's website. There's a lot of brands out there who obviously want to work with some marketplaces who will do fulfillment and everything for that. And that's like Shopee, Lazada, Amazon. They do that really well. But then there's a lot of brands who also have first-party data strategies. They want to increase the sales going to their owned and operated websites. And that's really where we come into play and what we help them with.
Right. And it's really interesting to know that brands can work with retail media like you, where they target consumers who are not just interested in your product or similar products and are further along in the buying process. So the moment that they are ready to purchase or considering buying, the brand is there. So that is really a good thing to note about a retail media space as well. My next question is this, right? We have seen the evolution of Carousell. Now you have Carousell Media Group, and you have tens of millions of users across different markets in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and also in Hong Kong, right? Now, what is next for Carousell, and what should your advertisers expect from Carousell this year and beyond?
Okay, so there's two types of questions there. I can talk about the group and what the overall Carousell strategy is, and then I can maybe touch on what we are doing from a media perspective as well. So the overall Carousell objective is pretty much the same from day one. It's helping people buy and sell. I touched on some of the initiatives that we have in the re-commerce space, bringing those best-in-class features. We're building out a lot of that functionality. So even in the likes of Singapore, what you'll see in the coming months is that when you're looking for mobile phones and electronics, the entire user experience will look a lot different. It'll be a lot easier for people to buy things instantly. It'll be a lot easier for people to buy things with warranties and guarantees. It'll be a lot easier for them to know exactly how much shipping will be. industry, again, bringing very similar experience to e-commerce. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're working across multiple markets for that and multiple sort of categories for that as well. So that's the business. And then that's the buyer side, but then we're being a two-sided marketplace, we've got to solve for the sellers as well. So we're doing a lot of instant sell programs where a platform will buy used mobile phones and electronics off consumers, we'll refurbish them, and then we'll sell them on our marketplace ourselves. So if give you an example, you can download our app, we can run diagnostics on your phone and give you an instant cash price by asking you a few simple questions. So that's a group perspective. Again, just making it super simple for people to buy and sell. And then from an advertising perspective, one of our biggest products that we've been working on for a couple of years is what we call carousel shopping ads. And so we're able to take the live feed from the advertiser through an API or CSV file and pull in those relevant SKUs. There's a lot of work that kind of goes on in the background there. It's not just serving an ad. We need to build out ML models to make sure that we're pulling in the right SKUs and they're attached to the right keywords and people are bidding the right cost per clicks, et cetera, et cetera. You know, Google have built their shopping ads product 10 years ago and probably have 1,000 developers working on it ever since. And you know, we're a much more humble kind of a team, but a lot of work to be done there. We're super excited where the product is today, but we're going to continue to evolve that over the next 12 months.
Wow, that's wonderful, JJ. And it's really an amazing time for Carousell and for Carousell Media Group. JJ, thank you so much for sharing your insights and inspiring us with the evolution and growth of Carousell. All the best to you.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome, JJ. It's our pleasure. That's JJ Eastwood, Managing Director of Carousell Media Group. See you again in our next episode of What's Next interview series. And together, let's discover what's next in marketing. Again, my name is Joven. Keep evolving.